The UFC is headed back to London, and they are taking a former world champion with them. This is actually the 10th fight card of 2025. It is the 6th fight night of 2025, and it is the 3rd fight night that is headlined by a former world champion. My name is Angelo. This is We Want Picks. I'm going to break down the entire UFC London fight card, giving you my picks, predictions, and bets. But before we look forward, let's take a minute and look backwards. Last night, immediately following UFC Vegas 104, I sat in this chair and I filmed a recap. I talked about every single fight on that card, how I thought it went, how it should have gone, and what I think should happen next for each fighter. It was a wild fight card. On paper, that thing was trash. That was a dumpster fire of a card. But then in reality, it delivered. Loaded with finishes, loaded with upsets. Overall, a really fun night of fights. And if you want my full, raw reaction, here is the thumbnail. It's the Home Alone face, and it will be the Home Alone face every single week. Check that out on YouTube. That card was loaded with a couple of lows and a couple of highs. One of those highs is BetSam. BetSam's the latest addition to premium membership. A few months ago, we brought him on. And it's funny because BetSam started as a fan of the show. He would call into the show. He was part of the community. He started to do his own thing, and he said, hey, I want to help you guys. What can I do? How can I help? And we said, why don't you come aboard? And he did that. And ever since BetSam has come aboard, my bets have actually sucked. I think he stole my aura. And now he's got it because he's crushing it. BetSam is crushing it. Like, absolutely, I can't explain it. Look at his bets. Damon Blackshear by submission, plus 300. Waldo Cortez Acosta by knockout, plus 195. His slam of the week, Kevin Vallejos, round 1 knockout. BetSam's crushing it. He's feeling himself. And when he puts the bets on the board, I'm always like, oh, it's going to be tough for BetSam this week. And it isn't. Unlock BetSam's bets. They are all on premium membership. And if you want to support him, use his code so he can get a couple of dollars. Check out BetSam's bets and everybody else's at WeWantPicks.com. Just click Become a Member at the top. It's freaking $10. What are we doing? It's $10. $10. One of you is wasting $10 right now on a scratch off in a freaking Walmart parking lot. No. Put it down. Go to WeWantPicks.com and click Become a Member. That lasts a whole month. That scratcher is going to give you excitement for about 5 seconds. Your wife knows that. Jacob also had an interesting night last night. He hit his 6th of 7 lock of the week in a row. He hit 5 in a row. The lock of the week is 100% free. The benefit for premium members is you already know who his lock of the week is going to be for UFC London. He hasn't done a video yet, no edit yet, but that bet is on the board, and you will see it there. The other benefit is when Jacob places these underdog lock of the week bets, 90% of the time, the odds go the opposite direction. He got Sam Hughes for UFC Vegas 104 at plus 215. Premium members saw that bet when it went on the board. By the time that fight closed, it wasn't plus 215 anymore. Jacob is on a wild heater. This is the streakiest betting sport in the world. And Jacob is on an absolute streak right now. 5 in a row, 6 of the last 7, a 111% ROI if the only thing you did was put 1 unit on his underdog lock of the week. So let's support our helmeted friend in his wild come-up journey, because it wasn't long ago that people were, you guys can't wait. You can't wait for somebody to mess up. Fade of the week. Oh. Let me change my underwear. I wrote fade of the week. Anyway, premium membership is more than just a couple of my bets and a couple of BetSam's bets. Premium membership A has 4 people's worth of picks and bets. A robot worth with picks and bets. And tools. One of those tools is an optimizer. We released a brand new optimizer last week. And it wasn't without hiccups. Anytime you code a product from scratch and release it to thousands of people all at once, you're going to get a lot of feedback all at once. And something like an optimizer is tricky because you don't use it on a Monday or a Tuesday. Everybody uses it on a Friday night and a Saturday morning. And what happened? We got a couple of messages. Hey, I'd like to be able to see my lineups. Hey, with this new optimizer, when I set 4 different people to minimum exposure of 100%, it's not giving me 150 results. Some of these were user error. Other of these were great ideas and suggestions that we implemented on the fly. And that's not an expectation I can set, right? I can't sit here and say, hey, if you message me something you want to change in the optimizer, the developer will do it on a Saturday and it'll be up an hour later. That is what happened yesterday. I cannot guarantee for that for the future. That's an unreasonable expectation to set. What I can say, though, is since we own these tools and since we've coded these tools from scratch, we have full and complete control about what they do, how they do it, and how they work. The brand new optimizer was brought about because of the brand new mode, the beginner mode. These videos that I'm sitting here doing right now, depending on the event, do everywhere from 13 to 25,000 views. Entirely based off the quality of the event and how many people are searching that event. I imagine UFC London will be a somewhat popular event. And a lot of you have no idea what I'm talking about when I talk about DraftKings Fantasy. A lot of you just watch for Angelo's funny jokes and beautiful face. Some of you watch just for the bets. Others of you are just doing research. But I know there's a giant chunk of you that love this sport like I do. And for you all, the people who love the sport, don't quite fully bet or do any of that stuff. Maybe you want to dip your toes in the water a little bit. And that's what we did with the optimizer. We added a beginner mode. So instead of looking at what you see on the left here in this slide, which is a bunch of numbers, projections, minimum exposure, maximum exposure, instead of seeing all of that and being expected to know what to do, we've added a beginner mode. That'll just ask you some questions. Who are your 3 most confident fighters on this card? Who are the 3 least? What are your best underdogs? Who don't you want at all? You answer a few of those questions, it'll just go ahead and build these lineups for you. Check out the new optimizer if you can start using it on a Thursday so I don't get flooded with 1,000 emails on a Saturday morning. That would be helpful. But check that out. That's included in your membership. The tool we added before that 1 month ago was the fight simulator. This simulates fights 100,000 times. And during those simulations, it's pulling in information like implied probability, historical DraftKings points, grappling stats, striking stats. And then it does the simulation, and the simulation spits out the results. You can take those results to build DraftKings fantasy lineups. You can use those results for whatever you want. The reality is, premium membership isn't some random dude with a Patreon pretending to be the best. Premium membership is multiple people giving you their best bets, their picks, their round line leans, and then a full suite of tools. You can use those tools for anything you want. I just gave you 2 tools that can help with DraftKings Fantasy. Here's a tool that helps with your research. To the thousands of people who watch that are really watching for research purposes, you're going to leave this video. You're going to watch 10 other videos. Then you're going to start Googling fights. Then you're going to go try to find data and do that. Why? Use the data analyzer. The data analyzer has everything right there on one screen. Not only will it have this event, UFC London, but it'll have every future event that is officially announced as well. And you can select your fighter. You'll immediately see their opponent. You'll see all their biometrics. Then you can start to add filters and pull reports. You can say, I want to see how many takedowns this fighter lands in decision wins, because I think they're going to win by a decision, and I want to bet the takedown prop in my favorite sports book. All of that information is right there in the data analyzer. And the cherry on top is, once it plots all of this out, you can hover over any of the plot points to see that fight, see the results, who the judges were, who the referee was, how it ended. And if you click that plot point, the video pops up, you can watch that fight. Straight up, watch that fight to do your full tape study. Everything I just mentioned is only $10. And it's $10 a month. Here's the month. If you become a premium member right now, if you go to WeWantPicks.com, click become a member, it's only $10. I always say I'm going to make a slide for all the meaningless shit that's $10 to put in perspective how insane of a deal that is. And it's funny because yesterday my safety parlay missed. It is what it is. The safety parlay missed. Immediately, I get a DM. I paid for this. How dare you lose a bet? I paid for this. And it's like, dude, you got to chill. This is what, first of all, you didn't pay $10 for a single bet. You paid $10 for the broadest, most robust product in this space, period, end of story. BetSam had a night of all nights. All the tools did what the tools were supposed to do. Jakey Boy's Underdog Lock of the Week, the line value on that alone paid for premium. And if you become a premium member, here's the 4 events you're going to get. You're going to get UFC London. You're going to get UFC Mexico. You're going to get UFC Vegas 105. And then you're going to get UFC 314, which as of this minute, on paper, is the best pay-per-view of the year. Unlock any of it. Unlock all of it. It's one package. No tiers, no bullshit, no upsell. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. We do have an app. Every single thing that I talked about is available inside of the app. The only restrictions in the app are you can't download the CSV file when you're building your DraftKings lineup using the optimizer. That's it. And that's not an us thing. That's an Apple limitation. Inevitably, I'm going to get 38 comments. What about Android? We're working on the Android app. We did the Apple one first. We actually did them both at the same time. The Android one was having some weird issues, so we pulled it. We're working on the Android one. I don't know when it will be ready. The problem with the Android one is it fundamentally works differently, and we have to make some big changes. So it's like, are we developing a completely separate app, or do we have to figure out how to get it all to work? We're figuring it out. Right now, the mobile experience is unbelievable, and the iOS app is available. This instant, just search We Want Picks in the App Store. We do have some new content here. Myself and former world champion Josh Thompson, him and I are buddies in real life. I saw somebody, Angelo, this isn't some weird boy band mashup. We're friends in real life. I know him, like underneath the sky with like fresh air outside. He's been to my house. Interesting enough, I've edited him out of vlogs. He's been to the house for my vlogs. I have edited him out because I told the editor, I'm like, I don't know. I haven't talked to Josh about the vlog stuff. Just cut him out. Just cut him out. Just in any scene he's in, either zoom in on me or just cut him out in the background. Let's just do that. I don't want him to feel like I'm exploiting him. But we've teamed up for actual content. It's a show called Bad Takes. You get me, you get Josh, giving you our just raw thoughts and insight onto different topics. We release a few of these a week. Here's the last two. The first one is the BJ Penn situation. If you don't know, a video went viral of BJ Penn like literally losing his mind. So we talk about A, BJ Penn specifically, and B, is there an obligation from the promoters to have some sort of long-term either physical or mental health care for these ex-fighters? The last video we put out was, does the UFC suck now? And the timing of that is interesting because that card did not suck. That card was extremely fun. The point of that video, though, is, does the lineup suck? Are we in a world where the UFC doesn't have enough fighters on the roster and has too many events to put out a quality product every week? Check out these videos. They're a fun listen. They're a good time. We don't take ourselves too serious. And you're going to get some really insight from him. Meaning he's got war stories and shit. Like sometimes he's old as shit. And sometimes he'll go on like these old man rants talking about God knows what for 4.5 minutes. But inside those rants, you'll get a good story or two. And finally, we film vlogs. Every single pay-per-view. I sit, I hang out, I drink, I eat, friends come over, we watch the fights together, and I film a vlog. The vlogs, one of my most fun things to film. Actually, filming it's kind of a pain in the ass, but I love watching them back because I just love remembering what the day was hanging out with my boys. If you want to watch the last vlog, go for it. There's not predictions in it. It's just the day and some reactions. But part of the vlog, we film a mail day. People send us letters. Somebody sent us a blow-up doll for the last vlog, and you can check that out. If you want to send something for the vlog, okay, all right, hold on. I said blow-up doll. The blood started flowing in the wrong direction, and now I'm fumbling on my words. Let's reset. Woosah. Let's reset. If you want to send something for the vlog, preferably not an SEX toy, you can do so now. The address is We Want Picks, P.O. Box 406 in Prosper, Texas, 75078. And before I break down this card, I have a question to the British people watching. I imagine some of you are watching this. What in the fuck is a jacket potato with beans, cheese, and tuna? Did you guys know? Did the non-British people know that they take baked potatoes in England? They call them jacket. Fine. Different term for the same thing. No big deal. They take a baked potato. They put cheese on it. All right, we're cooking. Then they put beans. And not like Mexican beans, like sweet beans, like baked beans. They put beans on it. Then they put cold mayonnaise tuna, like Subway tuna. So they have a hot-ass baked potato with shredded cheese, sweet beans, and tuna. And it's like, I think it's a national food. Is everything okay? Are you guys okay? Is this because of the tariffs? Like, are you guys all right? The war's over, dude. It's been for a while. Like, this cannot be, like, this can't just be social media convincing me of something that doesn't exist, right? And the only reason I know this exists is because Keith Lee, a giant American food reviewer, Kevin Lee's brother, Kevin Lee from the UFC, his brother, went over to England and said, let me get some of your best foods. And people were like, go see Spud Bros. And this is what he gave him. And the dude took a half a bite, was like, nope. And I get it. Tuna fish, cold-ass tuna fish on a hot potato with half melted cheese and sweet beans. This really is crazy. I need insight from an actual Brit. Hey, Ange, yes, we eat that shit. Things are tough over here. Or, hey, Ange, no. That's just some viral nonsense, even though multiple places sell this thing. I don't know. I need some clarity here because, listen, you guys love calling me fat. It's your favorite thing to do, and I call myself fat, and it's fine. First of all, not fat, okay? 6'3", 260, not fucking fat, all right? It's about time I draw a line in the sand and clarify a few things, all right? Any of you who have met me in real life, the people who came up to me at UFC Vegas 303 and all the other events, can you please vouch not fat? Second of all, I do eat like a fat guy. I wouldn't eat this shit. Now I know why we left USA. Let's go ahead and break down this card. Opening up the UFC London fight card, we have Guram Kutateladze taking on Kaue Fernandes. Guram Kutateladze is an absolute beast, or at least he was at one point in time. Solid striker. He's got incredible kicks, good pressure. He can threaten submissions. He's a well-rounded guy. And while he does get taken down, he's active on the ground. He makes people work. You don't get a chance to settle in or rack up any sort of meaningful control time. On the feet, he's got legit power, professional kickboxing experience, and at one point in time, Guram was a guy that we were talking about how good he is, an incredible prospect. But this dude is on the decline. He's not doing well right now. He's coming off that short notice win over Jordan Vucenic where he was almost finished. The dude was dropped early, and then finally he took over. But he was up in weight, or at least his opponent was up in weight and took it on short notice. Guram gave up the first round to win the second and the third. He's taking on Kaue Fernandes. Kaue Fernandes is a loose and powerful striker in his own right. He'll bounce on his toes, he'll stay in the outside, and then he'll lunge in with speed and power. Like many other fighters at his gym, No Vinyao, he's got slick BJJ, solid takedown defense as well. He can get flashy with the striking. He could also dial it in, be focused, try to stay clean. He can be technical. He's coming off that finish win over Muhammad Yahya, where he got the leg kicks going very early. And at one point in time, we would sit and we would talk about the people like Guram and Demiraz Magulov and others from that group of UFC newcomers and say, this is the future of the division. It's not the Dustin Poiriers. It's not the Justin Gages. It's this group. It's these young guys that can strike and grapple and do all the things. But that's not how things flushed out, is it? And I think Kaue can win this fight. Guram's chin is not what it used to be. Kaue has no problem moving forward, no problems trying to find it. We did see some offensive wrestling from Guram, so that actually might be an interesting game plan from him if things don't go his way early. I'm going to go against the grain. This is no longer conservative Ange. I am picking the 3-1 underdog here. I think Kaue Fernandes wins this fight. Flat out, I think he wins this fight. But I'm not going to bet the money line because that's listen. I'm not conservative, Ange, but I'm still a coward, right? I'm not just going to go ahead and lay out for a 3-1 underdog. That's absolutely fucking crazy. What I might do, there's two different bets that we have to wait for the props to drop that I may do. A win inside the distance, decision no action on our buddy Kaue. All that means is if he finishes Guram, you get paid, and if he doesn't, full refund. The other bet is plus 3.5. If this goes to a decision and effectively Kaue wins one round on the scorecards, and before you want a literal area, well, technically, shut the fuck up. If Kaue wins one round on the scorecards, for the most part, that's how the math fleshes out. You're basically buying points. You're betting on the spread. Then you get paid there. So let's see when those props drop. I don't think I'm going to lay out the 3-1 as a dog money. But holy crap, is this not the year of the dog? Holy crap. 6 underdogs won at UFC Vegas 104. 6! That's almost half the fights. That's a big deal. More so than any other year we have ever seen in MMA. Underdogs are winning at an alarming rate. I do think Kaue can win this fight. Guram was absolutely unconscious just, a year and a half ago? dropped bad in his last fight by a 145-pounder. I'm feeling it, guys. I'm feeling it. Then we have Loughran taking on Nathan Fletcher. He's going to need the luck of the Irish here. And guys, I got these flags switched, and you're going to deal with it. The guy on the right, the ginger who stands there and does nothing in his fights but talks like Conor McGregor and pretends he's cool, he's the one who should have the Irish flag. And he's going to need the luck of the Irish because I hate that guy, and he's going to lose. Spoiler alert, let's talk about him. Pre-UFC, Loughran was a powerful guy. He has a wide base. It's actually absurd. And he uses that to send kicks. He uses it to generate power. But in the UFC, Loughran is a non-committal, low-volume striker who has added wrestling to make up for his lack of power. He does have solid takedown defense. He does have good offensive takedowns. He can be a busy striker. He does have decent footwork. He'll move forward. But the dude is hittable as shit. And that's that stupid-ass wide stance. He's coming off that decision loss to teeny tiny, itsy-bitsy, teeny-weeny Jake Hadley. He lost to little baby Jake Hadley. Not only did he lose to Jake, he didn't lose because Jake Hadley was lightning fast and stayed on the outside. And no, he like got pushed around a little bit. And I wouldn't care, sorry for the rant, I wouldn't care this much if Caolan was just like a normal dude. But he's not, dude. He thinks he's Conor McGregor. He literally would compare himself to Conor. It's like, dude, no. Like Conor's, well, now, wild. But before Conor had that downward spiral of personal issues, he at least was a good fighter. Then he ran his mouth. You can't run your mouth before. I watch a show called Kitchen Nightmares with your chef, Chef Ramsay. And he just did an episode where he went to this restaurant. Food absolutely fucking sucked. In that restaurant, but it was a clean kitchen. You don't get a lot of episodes like that. In that episode, the woman, the head chef, had air fryers branded, had pots and pans branded with her name, had a seasoning branded with her name. But her food sucks and nobody's buying any of it. And his whole thing was, you're trying to be famous before you accomplished anything. You're not even a good restaurateur or chef, and you're already trying to build an empire selling products. What are you doing? That's Loughran. Trying to be internet famous before he's achieving anything in the sport. I hate it. Also, I'm a little salty, of course. Guy burned me in that bet. Anyway, he's taking on Nathan Fletcher. Nathan Fletcher is an Ultimate Fighter alumni. He did break his leg on the Ultimate Fighter in that fight, but he still pressured forward. And he still fought. There's no quitting this kid whatsoever. He's coming out of that same fight camp as Patty, as Molly. He fights pretty similar to all of them, honestly. Obviously, Molly's a striker, Patty's a grappler, but all of them move forward. They're all pressure fighters. None of them have quit. And Nathan is more of the same. Pretty well-rounded guy, solid grappling, good striking. He's always looking for a finish. He's got a decent chin on him, and he's coming off that submission win over Zygmantas Ramaska. He had some big-ass takedowns in that fight, but he was sloppy. And if you couldn't tell, based off the wild ranting I did over a man that I've never met who might be a phenomenal human being, I don't know. I can't stand the kid, though. He runs the mouth. He says he's the next Conor. He can't even bully a 125-pounder around. He's not fun to watch. He's not fun to listen to. He's honestly frustrating. He's frustrating. He does actually have skills. He just refuses to use them. He's perfectly happy standing there throwing one strike every 4.5 minutes. If I could trust Caolan to move forward, to keep the pressure, to be the guy that he was before the UFC, he actually would be a phenomenal underdog here because the skills are there. The problem is we've seen a couple of fights in the UFC. Can't really trust him to do that. So Fletcher's going to be the pick. He's got dog in him. He's got cardio. He's not going to quit. Nathan Fletcher's the pick. This, in all likelihood, goes to a decision because Caolan's, as much as I'm done, it's not soft. He's just non-committal. That's the biggest issue. Listen, Caolan, if you're watching this, my bad. We all have moments. Right, my bad. I didn't mean to complete railroad you like that, but just fucking let your hands go, dude. Let your hands go. Because you lose this fight, you're fighting for your job in your next fight. Let your hands go. You got nothing to lose. They'll keep you around if you lose but are fun. They will cut you if you win razor-thin decisions and are boring as hell. Let your hands go. Put on a show. This is entertainment. Then we have Mama B, Shauna Bannon, taking on Puja Tomar. Listen, this is a tough fight because it's gonna be a mess. This is going to be a mess. The fact that anybody's a favorite in this fight is obscene to me. This is a absolute disaster of a fight that will 100% go to a decision. This fight's whatever. Shauna Bannon, Puja Tomar. And actually, I'm just noticing now the Indian flag and the Irish flag are almost just, just turning sideways. Bang! India. Shauna Bannon is a striker. She's got traditional martial arts background. She's always coming forward. She likes the pressure, but she does seem to be forcing things, meaning she's not going to flow smoothly. She'll rely on pressure. She'll move forward. She needs that for success. She's incredibly tough, seemingly pretty strong as well. She's coming off that decision win over Alice Ardeline, where she landed more total strikes, but she also gave up 2 takedowns and 6 minutes of control time. She's taking on Puja Tomar. Puja's a fast, aggressive striker who loves coming forward, bringing the fight to her opponents. Every strike she throws is with intent, and she mixes those strikes up pretty well. Everything from pocket boxing to range kickboxing. She is definitely a little bit gappy on the ground. She got some grappling holes. And even though she can be taken down and can be controlled as well as submitted, she's not a quitter. She's the first female Indian fighter in the UFC, certainly has a tremendous fan base because of that. She's coming off the insanely close win over Ryan Amanda, where she basically just backed up and threw 1 kick at a time. And this is one of those fights, what I say earlier, Josh Thompson and I do a show called Bad Takes together, and we talk about different topics. The latest topic was, does the UFC suck now? And it's not about a specific fight, but more about the quality of matchups and the quality of fight. This is the type of fight. Granted, the rest of this card is very, very good, so nobody's going to say it about this card. But this is the type of fight that will randomly be on an Apex main card. And people will be like, guys, the UFC is cooked. The UFC sucks now. And it's unfortunate because I actually think this fight might be fun to watch. Is there going to be any high level anything in this fight? No, of course not. But it actually will be fun to watch. Personally, I think both of these women lost their last fight. But here we are. A low-level women's MMA fight guaranteed to go over 2.5. I think Puja is the better fighter. I think she's a little faster, a little cleaner, and certainly just going to move forward. She doesn't give a shit. I think Puja is the better fighter. But I am going to pick Shauna here because I think she's the one who's going to move forward. I think she's going to get Puja against the cage. I think she's going to drag her to the ground a little bit because Puja does have some grappling holes. And I think the crowd is going to help. I understand Ireland is not England. I get it. But they're close enough that people give a shit. I think Shauna Bannon's going to win a close one. I think the fans will be rallied behind her. Unless the Indian fans show up. Is India the most populated country in the world? Or is it China? It's one of those two. If it's not the first, it's the second. If those fans show up for Puja and they show out for her, then every fight's a hometown fight. But I am going to go Shauna Bannon here. I just think she's going to be a little bigger, a little stronger. Use that size, use that strength to keep Puja from kicking at distance and doing the things she wants to do. Then we have Christian Leroy Duncan taking on Andrey Pulyaev. Andrey Pulyaev, solid striker. He takes his time. He keeps things tight. He uses a jab more often than most people do, but many times there's nothing behind it. It's literally just the jab. And then it comes back to his face and he's just, jab. He does a nice job working the body on the feet. He does a nice job transitioning the takedowns if he needs to. He's a well-rounded guy, but despite his current win streak, still has something to prove. He's coming off that straightforward Contender Series win that punched his ticket to the UFC. He's taking on Christian Leroy Duncan, high-pressure fighter, 9 finishes in 10 wins. He's a powerful striker. He comes forward with pressure, speed, creativity. He throws everything at his opponents, but if things get a little heated on the way back, he will turn into a wrestler. He's wild, sometimes sloppy, but incredibly dangerous on the feet. He's got a solid ground and pound game if he ends up on top. He's coming off the decision loss to Gregory Rodriguez, where he turned Gregory into a wrestler. And I've got to go CLD here. He's obviously a massive favorite, so no shock there, but odds aside, I think he wins. We did just see him get out-wrestled. We know Andrey can wrestle, so there's that possibility. But I think the difference in this fight and the previous fight is that CLD doesn't have to worry about Andrey's hands. When he fought Gregory Rodriguez, he had to worry about that. There's insane power and speed on the other side. Here, it's like an occasional jab. Christian's the far better striker. I think the takedown defense will hold up. And if the takedown defense holds up early, the takedowns get sloppier and sloppier as the fight goes on. I think Christian Leroy Duncan wins this fight, and I think these odds are spot on. Then we have a couple of heavyweights. A couple of slower, non-exciting big power heavyweights, but heavyweights nonetheless. We got Marcin Tybura taking on Mick Parkin. Marcin Tybura, wild haircut, like wild hair. And they asked him about it, like, is this like a cultural thing? Like, and they're trying to be sensitive too. Like, hey, what's up with the haircut? Does this have to do with your roots as a whatever he is? He's like, no, I'm losing my hair, so I just cut it this way so it doesn't look so bad. Simple, straightforward. And that's the way he fights as well. And if that wasn't one of the best transitions I've had, I don't know what is. But he's got a simple, straightforward game plan. He's a grinder. He's never going to quit. He's pretty busy. His striking is just okay, but lots of punches and bunches. The strikes are really there just to set up the takedowns. He's going to grind forward, try to get you against a cage, try to shoot a takedown, try to get you to the ground at all costs. If he gets you to the ground, he's going to pound away. Maybe you quit, maybe you don't, but he's going to stay on top. Tybura averages a little more than one takedown per fight, but the takedown accuracy is not great at 33%. Instead of clean doubles, he will work those body locks and trips to try to get it there. He's coming off that second round TKO win over Jonata Deniz, where he was dropped instantly in that fight. But he managed to survive and just exploit the massive grappling holes from the kickboxer. He's taking on Mick Parkin. Mick Parkin's a good size heavyweight. He's 6'4", does a good job slowing the pace. He's a bit sloth-esque. And he does a good job making sure you fight at that pace. He's not going to let you stay on the outside firing with lightning speed. He's going to come forward. He'll throw 1-2s. He'll get a hold of you. And he's going to take away the sting. He's going to take away anything that you have in that regard, slow you down, and he might work into a takedown. But he's only using that if things aren't going his way. He uses those takedowns to get control, to, again, slow the pace. Almost everything this guy does is to slow the pace. He's not fast, but he does a very good job keeping up the striking volume and staying safe. He's coming off that knockout win over Lucas Bresky. Don't let that knockout foot. I mean, he's not typically a knockout guy. The beginning of the Marcin Tybura intro used to say, Marcin Tybura is a durable grinder. I deleted durable. I do these notes. I'm breaking down 13 fights at 26 fighters. I didn't memorize every single thing. So as I do my research, I take some notes so that I remember. And then I film this and I'm looking at my notes. And I deleted durable from my notes for Marcin Tybura. It's gone. Sure, he did survive early in that last fight. So you could argue, well, he is durable. He didn't get finished. But he is 39 years old. He's had wobbled knees in 2 of his last 4 fights. I have to assume that chin is about as gone as it's going to be before the lights officially go out. The question does become, does that even matter? Will Marcin be standing long enough to care about his chin? Does Mick even have the one-punch knockout power to get to the chin? And I honestly don't know. My gut reaction here is that Mick should be the pick. Tybura isn't very good if he cannot get the takedowns, and it's very possible that Mick touches him 2 to 3 to 1 strikes. That makes like boom, boom, boom. And then Marcin's like bink, legs, bink, legs. I'm going to go with my gut, my rock solid washboard abs supporting gut. And I'm picking Mick Parkin. That does go against my inherent bias for wrestlers because I am a lifelong wrestler, which is why I have such strong legs, which is my abs are as flat, they're not bad for a 40-year-old. That's why I'm in such phenomenal physical condition. Because I've been wrestling my entire life, and now I do jiu-jitsu like a stay-at-home dad because not really a lot of wrestling gyms out there for the youngins. Anyway, picking Mick Parkin. I'm not fat, guys. I don't know why you insist that I am. Then we have Loughran Kavanagh taking on Felipe dos Santos. Loughran Kavanagh, fast-paced striker, incredible movement, good speed. I almost cannot emphasize the speed enough. That is by far his biggest asset. He does have some raw power as well, so the combination of speed and raw power is working pretty well for him. He does not chase knockouts. He's got enough cardio to fight for a full 15 minutes. Part of that, though, is because he can be low volume. He doesn't throw a lot out there. He's a genuine prospect. He's got the composure of a veteran. He is coming off that decision win in his UFC debut where he was low volume, but he was insanely fast. He literally beat his opponent, Jose Ochea, to the punch every single time. He's taking on Felipe dos Santos, a shoot box fighter through and through. First indicator, the hair. You see that hair, you see the Brazilian flag, you're like, oh, this motherfucker's going to come forward, get hit, throw a bunch of shit, and that's what we're going to get. Those are all the shoot box fighters. They're all exactly the same. He throws everything he can at you. He tries to find a finish, and he gets hit a shit ton on the way in. He's not very good, on the ground at least. On the feet, he's aggressive. On the ground, he's not very good, but he does have offensive takedowns. Plenty of pressure. We did see that in his last fight, but he does fade as well. It's honestly hard to tell how good Loughran is. Yeah, he looks like an emo kid, right? If this was the early 2000s, you would check his backpack before you let him into a high school. 100%. I mean, look at the hair, the eyes. What's behind those eyes? Look at the difference between their two eyes. Felipe is like, hello, mami. Riz. Loughran is like writing a list in the back of the classroom. Like, there's either something behind those eyes or nothing. Either way, big problem. I don't know how good he is, though. Like, I know he's good, and he's doing what he's supposed to do, which is win, but he hasn't fought the highest level of competition. His speed is impressive, and you can tell he does like to pick his shots, but I don't know if he's going to get the opportunity to pick his shots in this fight. Felipe dos Santos is just going to move forward. That train's coming. Felipe is just going to come forward, get in Loughran's face, and then we're going to find out if Loughran can fight backwards. We're going to find out if there's any counter-striking in there. Ultimately, I'm going to pick him because he's just so damn fast. And ultimately, I don't. If he is writing a list in the back of the classroom, I don't want my name on it. No way. Showing up with a black trench coat and no, we're good, bud. No, you can sit at my lunch table. Yeah, of course. You want half my sandwich? I'm going to pick Loughran. We're going to learn a lot. We are going to learn a lot about Felipe's forward pressure, getting in Loughran's face, and if Loughran can fight backwards or not. Then we have Jai Herbert taking on Christopher Padilla. Jai Herbert, 13-5 in his career. And he's most famous for a loss. The biggest accomplishment in Jai Herbert's career is a loss to Ilia Topuria, but we'll talk about that in a second. For the most part, he's a technical striker. He likes to keep the fight at range. He's got a ton of movement on his feet. He's never planted for more than half a second. He's always cutting angles, feinting, moving from side to side. He can be a bit low volume. He does have a negative striking differential. For a guy that has incredible movement, supposed to be a high-level striker, he gets hit more often than he hits his opponents. His takedown defense is decent, but he has been taken down by some of the better fighters in the division. He's coming off that decision win over Rolando Bedoya, where his volume was better than usual. He's taken on Chris Taco Padilla. Pretty well-rounded guy. He's had mixed success sort of on the regional scene, but he seems to have found a rhythm here in the UFC. He likes to come forward. He'll briefly strike, move to a clinch, work a takedown. He's not like phenomenal at any one thing, but he does pressure forward, and he is very durable. He's very explosive, especially with his takedowns. He's got plenty of activity, plenty of cardio. He's coming off that knockout win over Rong Zhu, where he was striking early and didn't look to wrestle off the rip. And here's a fun drinking game, all right? This is in the middle of the day on Saturday, borderline morning for us in America. Congratulations, UK. You finally got a fight card that makes sense your time. I don't know if I'm going to drink, but here's a drinking game for you all. Let's take a shot. Anytime one of the announcers, the cage crew, a highlight, anytime they talk about the fact that Jai Herbert dropped Ilia Topuria in 2022. And I promise you, you will be blackout drunk taking a shit on the living room carpet before you get to the main card. That is all they're going to talk about. This kid is living off of that highlight. And yeah, it's an amazing thing for sure. But the reality is that he was knocked out cold shortly after that. In the fairness to Jai, he has fought some high level of competition. He fought Ilia, Moicano, Ludovic Klein, but he also has not beaten any of them. He dropped Ilia, and then he got put out. I think he's a little overrated. I think he's got mediocre takedown defense, and I don't think it's going to hold up. I can picking Chris Padilla here. Chris Padilla, just a week ago, was a good-sized underdog. Very solid plus money underdog, and that line's moving, and it's moving fast. By the time you watch this, he might be a full-on favorite. And that makes sense to me. I'm picking him now while he's a slight underdog. I do hope he wrestles more in this fight than he did in his last fight because all the shit I'm saying about Jai Herbert, he's still long and tall and can strike. He does have the tools, and I think he gets it done. Chris Padilla is the pick. Guys, if you want to pick up your wallet and have it be a little heavier than when you put it down, dude, the transitions are on fire today. Here's the website. We've got affiliate links. Go here, weonpicks.com/bets. Use the affiliate links. Sign up, make a deposit. We're going to get paid. It's affiliate link. Then we go ahead, slice off a couple of bucks, give it to you, 50 to be exact. Check that out. Use the link. get yourself $1 or $2. I want to announce our brand new optimizer. It's a tool at WeWantPicks.com. It's a premium member tool. It helps you build DraftKings fantasy lineups. And if you're like, what the hell is that? Well, great. We have a beginner mode. The beginner mode will walk you through exactly what the optimizer does and how it works. So you don't have to know anything. It'll literally ask you some questions. When I asked the developer to design this beginner mode, I said, make it like TurboTax. TurboTax is software that helps make the very complicated U.S. tax laws digestible and easy. You answer a few questions. Did you buy a house? How much money do you make? Boom. Here's your taxes. Done. Speaking of taxes, that's why we left. You guys taxed us, and we said, peace, we're out. And then America. Fuck yeah. Anyway, the optimizer included in premium membership, as is the fight simulator. Fight Simulator is going to simulate fights 100,000 times. It's going to take the entire slate of fights. It's going to pull in historical DraftKings data, implied probability, grappling stats, striking stats, biometric. It's going to take all that data. And then here's the symbol for simulating a fight. It's going to take all that data. It's going to simulate those fights 100,000 times and spit out the outputs. You can use those outputs for whatever the hell. I don't care what you do with it. Creep. Just hide it under the mattress so your mother doesn't see. And if you become a premium member at WeWantPicks.com and you unlock the insane bets that BetSam's been putting on the board, if you get early access to Jacob's Underdog Lock of the Week, and let me clarify there, he doesn't tell you it's the lock. You're not going to go to the bets and see this is the lock of the week. What you will see is a bet on an underdog before that video comes out. If you do want to check all of that out, it's only $10. Go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member, and you will have access for an entire month. An entire month. Not a week, not an event, an entire month. This month will give you 4 events. You're going to get UFC London, UFC Mexico, UFC Vegas 105, and then UFC 314, which is turning out to be the best fight card of the year. Unlock every single one of these things right now. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. Everything that we offer is available inside of the app. Just search We Want Picks in the App Store. The biggest benefit to the app, whether you're a premium member or not, is push notifications. You get push notifications on news. 2 weeks ago, when a bunch of fights dropped early, we sent you a push notification. 2 fights canceled. Make sure you're prepared. When we place bets, weeks, days, however far in advance, we sent a push notification. This bet was placed. And if you like it, great. If you don't, that's fine. But at least you heard about it before the line movement happened. And finally, the new content. Me and Josh Thompson, the only person to ever knock out Nate Diaz. Team up. We have a new show called Bad Takes. It's right here on the We Want Picks channel. We talk about different topics. And while I'm talking about that, that's the intro, right? I've done that intro a few times. Josh Thompson, only person to ever knock out Nate Diaz. Some fucking dweeb in the Discord, and you know who you are, and I'm purposely using these words, and I'm trying to get you agitated, added me at Ange. He's not the only person. And then he shows the Jorge Masvidal technically got a TKO over Nate Diaz. That was a doctor stoppage. There was a cut. And the doctor's like, no, there's a cut. He can't continue. That is not the same thing. Josh kicked this dude square in the face and put his lights out. That is not the same thing. Don't be a dweeb. And that's the problem, right? There's so much access. So much access. This one video, anywhere from 15 to 25,000 views. The video I do with Jacob, another 15 to 25,000 views. All the other videos I do, we do 400,000 views at rolling 28 days. That's a lot of people. Some of them are normal. Actually, the vast majority are. And some are not. Some are some of you know how to get under my skin. You do it on purpose. I need to do a better job not giving a shit. That's the hard part. I'm not built for the internet. And you can tell by this random rant in the middle of a video. It tells you I'm not built for the internet. I didn't grow up with the internet. I mean, I kind of did. Right? I'm 40. So we did have the internet for a giant chunk of my life, of course. But like when I was a kid, no internet. No internet as a 7-year-old, 10-year-old. We had it in high school and beyond. I didn't watch gamers. I don't know how to deal with random internet people. So please, be kind. Be normal. Don't be a random internet person. Here's the address you want to send something for the vlog. I already have some stuff for the UFC 314 vlog. One is from a dude named, what is it, Dixie Normus? Is that what it is? Hold on. Nope. It is this. and it's from Haywood Jablomi. If you want to send something, I have no idea what's in there. We'll all find out together in the UFC 314 vlog. You want to send something? We want picks. P.O. Box 406, Prosper, Texas, 75078. Let's go ahead and break down this main card. We got Nathaniel Wood taking on Morgan Charriere to open up this main card. I love this fight. These are both two very good fighters. I love it. I do love this matchup. We got Nathaniel Wood, very good striker, solid power, great dirty boxing, but he can grapple as well. He's got takedowns in 9 of his 11 UFC fights, submissions in 3 of those. He's a slick upper body takedown kind of guy, great control on the ground, great volume with around 6 significant strikes landed per minute, an impressive 72% takedown defense. He's coming off that win over Daniel Pineda, where the striking was on point. He's taking on Morgan Charriere. Sounds like a nice cold drink by a pool. Morgan Charriere is an explosive striker. He's light on his feet. He stalks his opponents. He leaps into punches. He works for control. He does a very good job being all the way in or all the way out. When he's in, he'll tie you up. He'll work in some knees. He'll control with the plum. When he's out, he'll stalk you, and then he'll leap in. He's got solid takedown defense, a few takedowns of his own. He's very good everywhere, fantastic cardio. He's coming off that knockout win over Gabriel Fly Miranda, where he had takedowns and power. And I love Morgan, not just in this matchup, but in most matchups. He's basically a French Chepe Mariscal. Not that normal French staring contest bullshit that you're going to get from absolute clown shoe Kevin Gisette. Not that kind of French. The good French with the bread and the onion soup and the croissant. That kind of, the good French, the French we like. Because he'll come forward, he'll mix it up, he'll make things happen. Nathaniel Wood is good, but I do think Morgan's pressure, his pace, the wrestling are all going to be the difference. If Morgan fights Nathaniel Wood the same way that Muhammad Naimov did, minus all of the fouls, he's going to get a nice win here, and I do think he gets a win here. I like Morgan Charriere to win. Then we have Jordan Vucenic taking on Chris Duncan. This is going to be a fun fight. I am surprised to see that this is one step higher on that main card. Nathaniel Wood and Morgan are more established fighters than both of these two gentlemen and have brighter futures. But these two gentlemen, bink, one step above. And I think like main card and prelims, that status matters, right? Co-main, main, that status matters. I don't know if the rest of the order does matter. But either way, we got Jordan Vucenic. He's an accomplished fighter at this point. No actual background in combat sports. He started MMA blank slate. His skin was also blank. And now here he is, loaded with tattoos and loaded with fight skills. He's evolving every single fight. He's progressing at an incredible rate. Plenty of cardio. He's not afraid of a war. He will plant his feet. He will fire strikes. He'll work forward looking for takedowns. He's a well-rounded, tough guy and a finisher. He's coming off that short notice UFC debut loss to Guram, where he dropped Guram early and was not afraid to engage. He did slow down, but that fight was short notice and up in weight. He's taking on Christopher Duncan. Chris Duncan is a heavy-handed, tough-as-nail striker in his own right. He's never out of a fight. We've seen him on more than one occasion get dropped, be in some trouble, and then recover and win. Style-wise, he's an accurate striker with low hands, lots of power, and a willingness to bang. He can grapple as well. He's got 10 takedowns in 5 fights, but he can struggle with control. He's coming off that submission win over Balaji Oki, where he was getting backed up, he was getting beaten, and then he snatched up that guillotine. And this is a fight that I've gone back and forth on because it's always tough to break down somebody who is winless in the UFC. Jordan did have a spectacular debut against the far better, far more accomplished, far more well-respected Guram Kutateladze. He did way more than people expected him to do, but he still lost. And a loss in a good fight doesn't guarantee a win in your next fight. Did that logic make sense to you? He lost. And everybody loves him. And he's a massive favorite because of how he lost. And I kind of understand that, right? Both of these guys are good strikers. Jordan is likely the more dangerous of the two. Probably the more durable of the two as well. The only thing that's prevented me from firmly picking Jordan is Duncan's durability. The guy takes absolute beat. I mean, he gets his shit pushed in. Like, they beat the shit out of this guy. And he's just still there. Moving forward and finding his own finish at times. So I am going to pick Jordan here. But I don't love these minus 350 odds, and I'm not going to touch them. Then we have Molly Meatball McCann with a brand new opponent in Alexia Thainara. Brand new opponent. This matchup was just slapped together the other day, and the odds were wild. Molly McCann was a minus 400 favorite when this dropped, and now she's a straight-up underdog. This line went nuts. But we're going to talk about it. Molly McCann, fun, aggressive striker. She likes to fight dirty inside the pocket, and not dirty like rule breaking, just dirty like bah, 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 bah. She doesn't have much power, but she does have a handful of spinning back elbow knockouts, too, to be exact. While she prefers to bang it out, she does have some decent takedowns and a BJJ brown belt. She's mostly a decision fighter. She is pretty technically sound, plenty of cardio to push that pace, but she cannot seem to find any meaningful success. She transformed her body, was in the best shape in her entire career, and she still lost to Bruna Brazil, where the takedowns were pretty much the deciding factor. She's taking on UFC newcomer Alexia Thainara. She's a forward pressure striker who literally marches forward with her chin in the sky and just bombs away. That's it. You will almost never see her take a step back. She does alternate between like the RoboCop forward pressure and the light on her toes movement, but ultimately she's throwing big. She's trying to get you out of there. If she cannot get you out of there, she's going to move into trips and drags. If she ends up on top, she'll work, but she doesn't seem very comfortable. She is tough. She is busy, and she does have a very good record, and I suspect the record is responsible for the line movement. Listen, Molly McCann is not very good, but she fights for your money. She works hard. You can count on Molly to slug it out and to 10 toes down, stand on business. God, I love that song. I think Molly will stand toe-to-toe with Alexia, and I think she could absolutely squeak out a hometown win, if not a bunch of takedowns as well, to secure that win. The line movement was crazy. I told you, she opened as a 4-1 favorite. She's now a plus 150 underdog, and I bet on Molly at plus 150 as a dog. I suspect people are just looking at the Alexia record, 11-1 on a win streak. She's Brazilian. Let's go. I imagine that's what's happening, because honestly, I was going to do that. When I saw this was announced, I had already done my full breakdown for Molly versus her previous opponent, Estela Nunes. And then they swapped the opponent on me, and I looked at it. I was like, well, Molly's fucked. And then I did the actual tape study and didn't just look at the record. I was like, Molly's not fucked. This chick kind of sucks. And that one loss is a good loss. Also to Bruna Brazil. Molly's a pick. Got the bet on Molly. In our featured fight of the evening, we have the very controversial Kevin Holland and the haven't seen you in 3 years, what's up with the mustache, Gunnar Nelson. Kevin Holland is an accurate, powerful striker. He has struggled with takedown defense the entirety of his career. When he does get taken down, he does have a jiu-jitsu black belt. We do know there are levels to black belts, as we saw in his last fight, but there is a black belt somewhere over there. Other than the wrestling defense, Kevin is a problem for a lot of people. He's a sniper on the feet. He's got great accuracy, good range. He can also grapple, as I mentioned. He can be competitive on the ground with his length. He is coming off that almost instant loss to Renier de Reder at 185 pounds, where it was clear this dude has not worked on his takedown defense at all. He's taking on Gunnar Nelson. Sick first name. I mean, that's a sick name. Straight up, sick name. Gunnar Nelson. And he's doing his best, like, American cowboy impression. I mean, look at this guy. If you didn't know he was a foreigner, you would think American cowboy. And the funny part about this is Kevin Holland's the cowboy. He's from Fort Worth, Texas. He's the cowboy. Rides horses, does all the hillbilly shit. Gunnar Nelson is not that guy, but he said, let me grow out the stash. Let me have the cool cowboy name, Gunnar. Hey, howdy, Gunnar. He's a grappler. He's got that ridiculous karate style, that long karate style where he will bounce side to side. He'll use kicks to manage range, and then he will blitz forward as fast as he can. He'll lower his level. He'll shoot actual takedowns. Once it hits the ground, solid jiu-jitsu, solid ground and pound. His issue, though, is he can be taken down. And his takedowns are not very good. His offensive takedowns are just okay. Because that long stance, that ridiculous karate style, takes a lot of movement and a lot of time to go from all stretched out to nice and tight to shoot a double. He does get hit on those entries many times, and that's why he has a horrific striking differential. This guy lands fewer than, if we're using correct English, fewer than two, okay, all right, reset. He lands fewer than 2 significant strikes per minute, and he is hit with 3. This guy's getting blasted. He hasn't fought in 2 years, and his last win was over Brian Barberena. And the question to you, is it crazy to pick Kevin Holland in 2025? His last fight might say yes. But I'm going to pick him, so call me Crazy Eddie. And if you don't know who Crazy Eddie is, look it up. Wild story. That's a wild story. Anyway, I am going to pick Kevin. And I know his takedown defense is worse than my 6-year-old daughter's. I know he seemingly doesn't give a shit about his career if he wins or he loses. I get it. But damn it. At times, he's a good fighter. At times, he can do it. It's important to note, this fight's at welterweight, not 185 pounds. It's at 170. So Kevin Holland, the very good striker with mediocre takedown defense, is likely fighting for his job. And he knows he's fighting for his job. It's one thing to not care up in weight against this giant Renier. It's another thing to know for a fact you're fighting for a job. To even make 170 pounds, he's got to put the time in the gym. I do not think Kevin's going to phone it in. That's the biggest question here, because I think we could pretty much all agree skill-wise, Kevin Holland is the better fighter. It's just a matter of if he cares enough to actually fight, if he cares enough to put it together. That's the big question anytime Kevin Holland fights. I think he will. I think he does. I picked him to win. Got a little teensy-weensy bet on him. These odds that you see on the screen are wrong, but I got a little bet on Kevin Holland here. I think he's gonna get it done. Gunnar Nelson hasn't fought in 2 years, doesn't have a single win over an active UFC fighter. Kevin Holland's losses are all credible. Oh, he lost to Wonderboy when he broke his hand. He lost to MVP, might be the best striker in that division. He lost to a giant 185-pounder who can take him down. Marvin Vettori, who could take him down. Derek Brunson, who could take him down. These are good losses. These are quality losses. Gunnar Nelson can't beat a single person in the UFC, or at least, I don't want to say can't, hasn't. Then we have the co-main event of the evening. Jan Blachowicz taking on Carlos Ulberg. We have a 42-year-old man taking on a 34-year-old kickboxer, and the odds are not crazy. Jan Blachowicz, former light heavyweight champion of the world. He's had a rocky couple of fights since becoming the light heavyweight champion. He's a striker. He hits incredibly hard. Polish power. Solid wrestling as well. We don't see the wrestling often, but we did see it against Prime Izzy and in his last fight against Alex Pereira. He's a well-rounded guy with a world of experience. He's 12-7-1 in the UFC. He has wins over Jared Cannonier, Jacare Souza, Luke Rockhold, and Israel Adesanya. He is coming back after 2 years away and that very close loss to Alex Pereira. He's taking on Carlos Ulberg. Carlos Ulberg is a world-class kickboxer. He transitioned to MMA. He's a big guy. He's got incredible footwork, great range management. His striking differential is an impressive 7-4, and he has an 83% takedown defense. His only MMA loss was a knockout loss to Kennedy Nzechukwu, who he was dominating but got caught. He is coming off of the close decision win over Volkan Ozdemir, where he was more hittable than usual, but he had the bigger moments. And when I broke down Jan, I said former world champion. And then I listed some people that he beat. I listed his impressive wins. If you listen to those names, every single one of them was a middleweight. They were all middleweights. Jan only has one single win over a UFC light heavyweight, and that was in 2020 against Dominic Reyes when he was in his get knocked out era. Jan's last win was a freak injury over Alexander Rakic. That fight was tied. It was 1-1 going into the third. Rakic blows out his knee. Oh, Jan wins. Before that, it was a win over a middleweight Izzy 4 years ago. I like Jan. He throws big. He's a good dude. I mean, we met him at UFC 303. Couldn't have been more normal. Couldn't have been more cool. I don't see him at 42 years old winning this fight. I think he's going to be too old, too slow. Carlos did not look the best in his last fight, and I think that's why these odds are where they are, and this isn't just a wide minus 600 type fight here, but Ulberg is going to be the pick, and I am pretty confident in that. If Jan wins, because Jacob and I got into a wild argument over text message, and watch our Tuesday night live stream, because I'm sure we'll have it live, over this fight, where I was like, dude, who the hell has Jan beat? And Jacob's like, he basically beat Ankalaev and Alex Pereira, the current and former champion. And there's an argument to be made there, but dude, he's 42. And he doesn't have an actual win on his record in a very long time. Then we have the main event of the evening. Former world champion Leon Edwards in his first fight since losing that belt. And he's taking on Sean Brady. This is supposed to be Jack Della Maddalena. Things moved, they switched, they swatched. And now Sean Brady stepping up the biggest fight of his entire career. Main event in enemy territory. First of all, how sick are these graphics? Look at it. Do you guys see the detail? You want to comment about some dumb shit? How about you focus on all the attention to detail here? How about that? These are the official flag colors. I've got them faded in all the accents. We got red on the left, blue on the right. We got the flag in them. I mean, these guys, you know how long it takes to do this shit? Not phone. This isn't topology. This isn't phoned in bullshit. This is high quality graphics for your viewing pleasure. And if you're listening on Spotify instead of watching, just imagine how nice these graphics are. If you want to support the graphics cause, become a premium member at WeWantPicks.com. I do these all myself. Maybe we get enough premium members, somebody else can do them because holy shit, does it take a lot of time. We got Leon Edwards, a very, very well-rounded fighter. Primarily a striker, good body kicks, nice boxing. Now he has decent wrestling as well. He averages more than one takedown per fight. He was able to take down Nate Diaz, Kamaru Usman, Kobe Covington. He's good everywhere. He's got great cardio, solid fight IQ. He took down Belal Muhammad as well. He's coming off that title loss to our boy Belal Muhammad, where he essentially was backed up, taken down. He did have a couple of flash moments of success. He's taking on Sean Brady, high-level grappler with some power in his hands. He plots forward, he throws bombs. He'll even work in a spinning back fist before shooting a takedown. He can be dangerous on the feet. He's definitely dangerous on the ground. He tends to have cardio issues, though. We've seen him get some takedowns, rest on top where he can. He averages more than 3 takedowns per fight, and he's coming off a couple of nice wins in a row. The number one question here is not, can Sean Brady get the takedowns? Because you probably think that's the question, right? The normal narrative this week is going to be, if Sean Brady gets it to the ground, he wins this fight. But that's not the big question. The question is, does Leon plan on fighting or staring? Because Leon is absolutely the better fighter. That's not even debatable. The problem is he doesn't always fight. Sometimes he just stands there, like he's reading a poem in the rain in a music video. He will just stand there and do nothing. He gets frozen by the idea of somebody shooting a takedown on him. And if he's standing there frozen by the idea of Sean Brady shooting a takedown, then his feet are going to be stuck in the mud and he is cooked. But if he comes out, he moves forward, he lets his hands go, then he's absolutely going to smoke Sean Brady, no bones about it. And before you comment, bro, Belal outstruck Sean Brady. Well, Bilal's the world champ right now, and he's a pretty damn good striker, so hating on him like it's Nickelback in 2010 is stupid and close-minded, and you're stupid too. This is a great main event. I do want to pick Leon here. I'm doing everything possible not to pick Leon. The problem is I cannot trust him. Skill for skill. Far better striker, not even close. He can wrestle as well. He out-wrestled Belal. In any exchange that Leon tried in that Belal fight, he won. The problem is he didn't try. He just got backed up, was waiting. But when he actually tried, he won those exchanges. I want to pick Leon. But just like his last fight, he might not try enough. He'll try for a second here, a second there. Sean Brady, hopefully, will have no problem grinding forward. He started his career as a wrestler. Then he attempted no wrestling. Belal Muhammad smoked him. And then he went back to his wrestling roots. And if he sticks to the wrestling roots, if he fights this fight the exact same way Belal Muhammad did, then he wins this fight. Move forward, throw a bunch of strikes at Leon's face, and shoot takedowns. If you have 25 minutes of cardio and you don't make some dumbass mistake, you're going to win this fight. Sean Brady is going to be the pick for that reason. I'm not betting on this fight. I'm not betting on this fight. I think Leon Edwards is too good to bet the other side. Sean Brady hasn't had a win over this level of competition just yet. But I do think he's going to win because Leon Edwards does absolutely nothing in half these fights. That's the breakdown, guys. If you want to support us, go to WeWantPicks.com, become a premium member. You can also download the app. You don't need to be a premium member to use the app. Just search We Want Picks in the App Store, download the app, turn on push notifications. If you're a premium member, you'll get notifications of bets that we placed. If you're not a premium member, you'll still get notifications. Maybe it's new content. Maybe it's some crazy news like fights dropping the day of. Download the app, search We Want Picks in the App Store. Inside of the app, you'll have access to every single thing that we offer, including the brand new DraftKings Optimizer. As you start using these tools, send us some feedback. What features would you like to add? We've got a running list. We're pushing out updates Saturday specifically. The Saturday of UFC Vegas 104, we pushed out 3 updates in the Optimizer. Just feedback from the community, real time. The developer happened to be home in front of his computer. He's making adjustments. He's making changes, pushing it out. And the products are improving literally right in front of your eyes. The Fight Simulator is another product that's wildly successful. What this does is it takes every single fight on the card. It simulates them 100,000 times. You can use those outputs for whatever you want. We also have the data analyzer. A lot of you watch this as part of your research routine. You watch 10 people. I'm just one of them. You take notes, you search YouTube, you're Googling random shit to try to get your ducks in a row. Everything you could need is inside the data analyzer. All of the fighters' historical fights, all of their future fights. This is built out for the future. Everything is in the data analyzer. You can stack filters, add, remove data, run reports, and then bang, watch the actual fights. Click the button, boom, the fight comes up. You can do your own tape study. The line movement tracker is another tool you'll have full access to. It'll give you the opening odds, the current odds, the win probability, and the line movement for every fighter on every card. You'll have full access to the Prop Hunter, a curated set of data specifically designed to help you find prop bets. You will have full access to everybody at We Want Picks. Not just me, not just Baby Jake. We got Bet Sam, who is on an absolute tear right now. Artem, who picked a perfect Cage Warriors card. I think there was 8 fights. He went 8-0. Artem writes an article for premium members about the regional shows. Premium membership is by far the most robust, most well-built out product in this space, period, end of story. And if you missed 3 bets and you're salty, explore premium. There's far more than a handful of bets. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. Guys, I appreciate every last one of you. I know I've got the angry Ange facade, and some of you I will argue to the death with on random topics, but I appreciate every last one of you. I love that you're here. I love that we get to make this content. Thank you all so incredibly much. Like, subscribe, do all those things, and good luck this weekend.